You know, it takes courage to stop something that isn't working and choose again. I'm about to hit 100 episodes on YouTube only this year. And as I realized that this weekend when I uploaded my latest video, and I was like, oh my God, we're over the 80 episodes now. Within 2 weeks, I'm there. That's crazy, like 100 episodes. And we're just still in the first quarter of the year. I was thinking about, okay, I need to celebrate this huge achievement of 100 episodes. But I couldn't help but think all the trials and errors I had to go through to even be where I am right now. And what you guys don't know is that even last year, end of last year, I had these True Love series on my Instagram. I was posting every day for 23 days to launch my new program. It was a complete flop. Like, I think only one person showed interest. It took so much of my energy to create those series. It was very strategic, and I really was not liking the process at all. I completed it, but I really, honestly, yeah, I just let it go completely. I was like, you know what? Sometimes it takes time to refine things. I can redo it, but I'm like, no, I'm going to let this go. It wasn't resonating. And the reason I tell you this is that a lot of times when we start a New Year's challenge or we have a new commitment with ourselves, something that we want to accomplish, we feel like a failure when we stop doing it, or we feel like a failure when it fails. I stopped so often, guys. And, you know, it never really was a failure because when I stopped, it was because it wasn't aligned. It needed some tweaking. And sometimes it just needed to be dropped just like that. 11 years ago, I started a blog. It was called Love Power Peace. And the moment I launched it was actually also the end of the story. It took me 1 month to be like, I'm done with this. It was a year in the making. I created my own website. I already wrote, I think, 25 episodes or blogs, had photo shoots around it. There was so much love in it. But the moment I aired it, the moment it was launched, I hated everything about it. And the crazy thing is, I just turned 30 and I resigned from my job. And so I actually had all the time to work on that blog. And that's when I was like, no, this is not it. Now, looking back, I'm like, good for me for not pushing through. Good for me for honoring that big no, and just letting it go completely. Because even though I had a clear vision, and guess what? That vision is now very much alive, is what I'm doing now every day on YouTube, a completely new format because it's video and it's daily. And, there's nothing more real about that, right? But I changed completely as a person too. The vision that I had back then, it wasn't ready to be birthed yet. And a lot of times we hear people say, keep pushing and don't stop and, all of that. But I can truly testify that sometimes stopping was the answer. Sometimes you have to just stop, allow things to fall apart, and then obviously get back into movement, because it's only movement that you get clarity, right? It's not by standing still. Last year I did the same thing. I stopped. So after that launch, I just let it go because I felt so much resistance. And I actually started to do something completely different, which was I used my time to start this new hobby, a fashion course. And that fashion course made me connect to this playful energy. When I saw the ad that there was going to be a teacher who was going to give classes on how to make your own garments and stuff, my heart literally jumped as if I was a little kid. It was like, oh my God, I can finally learn this. Not because I have this ambition to become a fashion designer, but because as a kid, I always wanted to learn this and I just never did. I just curated my own stuff from some fabrics that my mom had left over. I never played with dolls, but I used that fabric to create clothes for them. That's the part that I liked about the dolls. Anyway, it helped me connect to that playful energy. And ever since I got that, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do anything, then it's going to be based on this energy. I want to create from this energy. And so when I started YouTube, I made a conscious decision in December, like, okay, we're going to start on January 1st because it's just a beautiful day to start. And I wanted to commit instantly for a whole year of creation. No strategy, no, you know, well, of course there's a purpose behind it, but the main purpose was joy. The main purpose was playfulness. The main purpose was creation itself. And guys, what took me so much struggle, blood, sweat, and tears when I created the 23 Days True Love series back then on Instagram, compared to what I'm doing now, almost hitting 100 episodes, it's a difference of day and night. And I'm really talking now to those high achievers that don't feel like what they're working on is working, that feel like they've been taking years and years of refinement and they're not exactly where they want to be yet. Or they try a lot of things that were successful and now they're doing something completely new, pivoting, and they're just facing a wall. It's okay to stop. It's okay to pause. Nature sometimes has to die too. Like it's now springtime. For it to become spring, first, all the seeds had to be able to grow. The leaves had to fall off, and we're so afraid to stop. We're so afraid to, embrace nothing. Just embrace the nothing. But every time I embraced the nothing, I got closer to what is the yes. What it could become. And then when I really shifted completely to just focusing my energy on something that brings me joy, I rekindled that energy back. Yesterday, I still had to do some steps, and the little one was with me. I know he doesn't like walking at all. He's very sporty, but when it comes to walking, he starts complaining instantly. And so I was like, okay, how can I still get him to come with me? Because I don't want to let him alone by himself at home, and I still need some steps in. I always do 10K steps. And so I was like, I got it. Hey, Fee, let's bring your car and let's have a walk. Let's have a stroll. We had a beautiful afternoon stroll. I think went out for like 45 to an hour. And obviously, when the battery was low again, that was the time when we had to head back home. And that's the first thing that he said, Mom, I want to go home now, right? But the whole thing is, I combined the playfulness for him to move with me. And that's the part that was missing. In a lot of the creations that I started with, that joyful part was gone. It wasn't there. And now, because I put that on the front seat, like, hey, this is the main point. It's not to sell my guidance. It's not to just show up. No, the main thing is creation. The main thing is expression. And from there, all the rest can follow. If it doesn't bring you joy, it's not worth doing, honestly. And it's not the best business advice either. Meaning, if you go on the internet, you will hear everybody say, pick your niche, analyze your content, make changes, blah, blah, blah. It just doesn't bring joy to me. And I'm like, call me stubborn or anything, but at least I'm showing up now. At least I'm able to do this. Just like at least my son is now walking with me, having his own steps in, because we used, his car as a tool to get us there. I never could have thought that I was going to be able to show up 100 days, and I'm going for a year. And I know I will. I know I will reach that because I created my whole life around it. And I put creation first because it brings me joy. It has become effortless. I think the hardest part is not the creation, is the work afterwards, But I am on this road and I'm like, hey, I'm doing it. I wasn't even able to do that. Well, I was able to do that for 23 days, but don't ask me how I felt. I felt depleted. I felt frustrated. I didn't like it. And because I honored those feelings, I didn't push after that. I was like, no, this is not the way for me. It may work for others, those strategies. It's not for me. And I found out that apart from being a very strong businesswoman, I actually am more an artist. It's a way of living that I didn't thought I could sustain growing into an adult, because that's not what I learned, right? And I'm like, but that's BS. I refuse to, do everything on a strategic way. And I refuse to do everything with a business angle. I need that playfulness. That playfulness opens doors that I cannot think of ahead of time, but it is where you meet magic. It's called creation for a reason. It's the energy you can tap into to be closest to the creator, and that's infinite. There are infinite, limitless possibilities when you do that, when you tap into that energy. Anyway, this is what I was thinking of when I realized I'm almost 100 days in on doing something that felt like impossible because of my past experiences. And this is also a shout out for people that started a New Year's intention and they failed. They failed. They stopped. You know, it takes so much bravery to stop, actually. It takes even more bravery to be kind to yourself in a loving way and to look at yourself and be like, you know what? It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't say that I'm a quitter. I am not a better version of me because now I'm showing up every day. Let's go to that blog from 11 years ago. I I'm for sure not a better version. I had the courage to stop. I had the courage to be like, this is not it. After a huge lounge, I had a party at home, guys. Everything. And then after a month, I was like, no, this is not it. It takes so much courage to do that. And it takes courage to start again, and then to start again, and then to start again. It takes so much courage. And the whole point is not to give up. Some people are born with a gift of knowing exactly what they're here to do. They want to be a singer, that's what they do. Or they want to be an athlete, that's what they do. And there are people like us, you and me, maybe, who's watching right now. It takes more time. And even when we know finally, it still takes time to put it out there. And so this message is for you. I'm proud of you for having the balls to stop, having the balls to continue again, and to do it again, and to try it again. How many chances it needs, how many shots it needs, it doesn't matter. There's this video I saw yesterday. I love watching some shorts with Figo at night because they have all these different types of content that people create. And these are from young guys who do this weird trick. And eventually they also show how much time it took them to do this perfect shot. So let's say they have this little ball and they try to push it in a bucket. And then it's like three of them in a row and they all try it. And it shows it took them 5 hours to make it look perfect. And that's what I'm talking about. You know, in that moment, that shot shows perfection. But it took 17 hours for them to complete that task. And that's why I'm proud of you. Keep showing up. And don't be afraid to stop. Don't talk yourself down. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. Bye.